I'm Dr. Paula Koger. Well, I want to talk to you about myself and about what I experienced and learned from life because I see that there are things going on in healthcare, in life care, in self care that are incompatible with life and the quality of life, limiting the quality of our life. And I want to help. I guess I've always wanted to help. I ask myself sometimes, why have I always wanted to help? I think it's because I was born to help. I remember in first grade, I was elected Miss Liberty. It was like a school play presentation, and I stood beside Uncle Sam. And he was dressed with a top hat, and I was dressed with a vest that was made from an American flag design. And we were representing, freedom for the people and quality on earth, and it seemed to fit. I remember in the play, I felt like I messed up for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe I lost my tripped or something like that, but I remember a feeling of not quite getting it right. And I know as life is the way life is, that everyone has their struggles and their challenges, regardless of what their purpose or what their job or what their calling or what their chosen profession is in life. And I just want to do perfect at mine. I want to do what I came here to do in a way that everyone that can possibly benefit from what I've learned can benefit from what I've learned. I also just have deep concern about others, like I see people and I see how much obesity there is. I see how much people's faces aren't happy and they look depressed and they look unreachable. And I often play a lot with reaching people that seem unreachable. And many times the unreachableness is hiding some beautiful sparks that can be accessed. So I guess my interest in life is sparking what's inside everyone. I can spark what's inside to know their light and their love and their health and their wealth and their bliss and their joy. Yeah, big order, huh? Well, I've always taken on big things. I was a psychiatric nurse, professor of psychiatric nursing. My first job was in a psychiatric ward, and I took on the ward administration because of how they treated the patients. They were tying them to benches and they were giving them way too much electroconvulsive therapy, and I could see that it was not working. And so I took them to task. Was it a success? Well, the administration was changed, and I won't say that it was an improvement. I could not stay there because when I took on the system, then the system took me on. Made it very unpleasant for me, except for one doctor who was the doctor of Tulane Institute Psychiatric Hospital, psychiatric unit, and Tulane University, and he appreciated and admired what I had done. Nevertheless, changing the world is a big job, isn't it? And besides that, people might say, well, what do you know? And what makes your system better for me? And I just know one thing that I've noticed is that healing is a process. Learning to be well and happy and vibrant and alive is a process. I think we've been educated in this culture to expect that if we go to a doctor for a problem, then the problem's going to go away. We get something and we take it and it's going to go away. And that is so far from the truth of my experience. And I noticed it all during my nursing career of 25 years. I noticed it. I was in every field of nursing attempting to find a panacea, a place where people were really getting results and happy and getting better, and it wasn't happening. I didn't know what to do with it. I kept getting more education and changing fields. I even went to Europe and worked for the United States government as a school health educator, working with the children of the military families in Germany. And that was a very positive experience because I was in education of children and could give them options to look at. Well, that lasted 5 years and I came back. I studied in Europe with all the great teachers. I got my master's actually in Europe. And Ball State had an extension program there, and I took advantage of it as a military person. There were many benefits, and that was one of them. And still, when I came back and worked as a professor of nursing, I was not happy with how I was not allowed as a professor of nursing to really just teach human connection, teach healing through connecting and directing and supporting people in knowing themselves. Because the biggest thing that's been neglected in healthcare is the patient's part in healing themselves. It's like the patient doesn't exist. Like we are trained to look to others for solutions, and rather than look within. So they really didn't, this nursing administration really didn't approve of the way I was suggesting we talk to patients and ask them what was bothering them or what they needed to change about their life to get well. And then I was called in by the president of the campus, and he said, well, I hired you to bring humanity to nursing, and how's that going? I said, well, I don't know. It's not really working out too well, Frank. And I said, I was thinking about going to New York University because they're training nurses to do therapeutic touch, and they've had great success with therapeutic touch, even helping preemies thrive who weren't thriving prior to the therapeutic touch. Dr. Krieger was teaching it as a PhD program, so I went, learned it. I was very impressed. It was a factor. It was a way that people could help themselves. It was a way that the practitioners could help people. And I came back, and a nursing student came up to me and told me she had her thumb and forefinger, index finger were numb, and that the back of her neck hurt. So I put my hand on the back of her neck about 4 inches out, 3 inches, and just held my hand there and moved it. And I could feel the energy changes because I was born with a sensitivity to energy. And I still have it, and it's seriously amplified now. It's an ability to know what's going on with people. So I put my hand on the back of her neck, and the pain in her numbness in the index and thumb finger went away, and the neck pain went away. And she was thrilled, and I was shocked. And she went to the director of nursing and told her. And the director of nursing called me in. And it felt like going to be a reprimand. It felt like it was going to be a reprimand. And I said, so wait a minute. Before you start, let me tell you something. I've decided to resign this tenured faculty position. I'm going to use the massage license that I had acquired and my counseling license. And the fact that I had studied Jinshin Jitsu, which was a touch therapy, moving energy through the body modality, I'm going to open my own practice. And that was the end of my nursing career, fortunately. I later went back to nursing to finance my going to acupuncture school. I did home health because I could name my hours and I could travel around and I could have time to study. I didn't really want to get into acupuncture. I didn't really want to broaden my understanding of healing. But nevertheless, I was so pushed to do it by people around me. It was almost like God sent me people who would just keep after me till I did it. They wouldn't leave me alone. I would say, "Look, I'm too old to go back to school. 45 is, please." And they said, "No, it's your important job to do this." Well, acupuncture training just changed my whole view of how we look at the body. I mean, it was like looking at the body truly as an electrical system that had energy running through it and that had points that controlled and regulated this energy, and that we could impact this energy flow with needles. And Jinshin Jitsu showed me you could impact it by touching these points. And therapeutic touch showed me you could impact it by holding your hands over these points. And psychology training, advanced techniques like Psyche K and other miraculous inventions, which you can see on my website, www.wealthofhealthcenter.com, changed how our thoughts can regulate this flow of energy and opened me to the idea that we are a flow of energy. We are an energy. We are a generator. We are a battery. And that God is the source that fills this battery, and that in order for him to fill it, we have to let him. We have to request it. We have to allow it. We have to breathe him in. We have to keep out things that keep him from being able to get in, keep our source from being able to get in because we are too stuffed with things we can't assimilate and digest and remove and process. And almost everything in the world is cooperating with selling us on processes and procedures and chemicals and foods and thoughts and ideas that will block our energy flow so they can capitalize on our blocked flows. For example, if you go in because you have a gallbladder that's stuffed so full of blockages that it cannot work, then the main procedure is to release it, to remove it. And now you have no bile being produced. And so now you've got less help with eliminating all the foods and substances that are being ingested. Now you've got a scar that is a further blockage to our ability to move energy through this delicate, sensitive, well-structured, fine-tuned energy system. Well, this is my passion to share this with you. and to admit to you that what I see in my practice after 50 years in healthcare is that most problems that people have are because of what they are putting into their body that's not coming out, or what someone else is putting in their body that's not coming out, or what generationally their ancestors did not deal with, that they have stored in an effort to balance out the constellation or the family energy patterns. And getting through what's there that's in the way of making good choices, of being able to eliminate, of being able to move energy through the tissues, requires attention to what's going in that's right for you, not what's suggested on any other source other than what is right for you. It means tuning into the thoughts and beliefs you hold that may limit, inhibit, reduce, alter. You get the picture. Our ability to assimilate and break down. Learning to breathe in a way that allows enough of source, life force into us to activate our energy. Consuming enough fluids, enough minerals, enough enzymes, enough whatever we need, what we need. It means moving enough to remove the blocks, releasing the stagnation that allows things to accumulate. It means finding and reducing the subconscious. Dr. Bruce Lipton's 95% subconscious that he says is in charge. I have found that to be true. That the subconscious, when it's healed, when it's released from the patterns that are limiting us. Now, how does this work? There is no one in my experience so far that does not have subconscious limitations due to the fact that they are trying to accomplish something that they feel is not or has not been accomplished by their parents, siblings, grandparents, great grandparents. So there's an accumulated energy field keeping different parts of them stressed. It's amazing to know that the subconscious blocks the physical, affects the physical, affects the mental, and it affects the spiritual. So by finding and locating these and releasing these patterns of the ancestors and the patterns of the subconscious, remember, subconscious means you don't know about it. That's why it's called subconscious. I will say to people, oh, look, I do scans to identify what's in the subconscious, biofeedback scans. And they'll look at the scan and say, well, I'm not angry. I don't have a problem with the fact that I was attacked. I no longer think about that. And I let them know and many of them believe it and deal with it, that because we don't know about something is more likely to mean it's affecting us. Because the first step in releasing what's affecting us is recognizing it and accepting it. It's there and deciding to deal with it, deciding to let it go. Now, some people, I will just talk to them about what's in their subconscious, and they're so ready to change, they'll just let it go. And I can feel it. I can feel the energy of people releasing. I can also feel their resistance to releasing. And so it becomes a workshop. Every session becomes a workshop. Figuring out how to get around that protection of the subconscious that we have created as a survival tool. It's not okay on this planet to be seen as having anything other than perfect selves. Or we can moan and groan and complain and blame someone else. But to own our own issues and let them be known is pretty much unknown. And so relationships become a lot about blaming others and complaining about others. I have a woman I know who, every time I see her and her husband, I'll say, well, hi, good to see you. Oh, good to see you, I'll say to the husband. She says, oh, he's Mr. Grumpy. Wow. Never mind figuring out why. My part in contributing, her part in contributing to his unhappiness. Because what we fail to see in relationships is that what the other person is, we're seeing in the other person is what's in us. They're a mirror. They're a gift. It's a gift. It's a present to show us the way. Like everything that's happening to us is showing us the way to understand what's going on in us, and so that we can heal it. We came here to heal. My thing that I've dealt with is I understand I came here to heal, and I experience that I came here to help others heal, and that's been going on since I was 5. And my mother asked me to heal my grandfather of a stroke, and I did kneel down beside his bed, asked Jesus to heal him, and he did. And my grandfather lived and walked and had no problems the next 40 years. So more and more people have healing gifts of one type or another. And the secret to uncoding and releasing and perfecting any gift is releasing what's in the way of that gift expressing itself fully. One thing I've used to inspire me to make these videos is that I really don't want to stress myself out by doing things to market these concepts and sell them to the public and put them out. I've written 3 books and they're on my website. And I did not, and I could not, and I would not spend all the time and energy that it took to perfect those books so that they would become #1 bestsellers, although the content is certainly worthy of being #1 bestseller. Everything in this culture is more about convincing people that something is of value rather than helping them discover their own value, their own ability to facilitate the removal of their blocks. Remove what's in the way of them being able and willing to make good choices. Choose good behaviors. Helping people learn to let the gifts of God in, to heal them, the light and love of the Christ within us, the ability to breathe deeply, how to nurture ourselves with thoughts and positive statements, what to use that nature has provided us to assist in these processes, like herbs and foods, natural resources, homeopathy. This is incredibly, most commonly, the last. If it ever gets to any priority list, it's the last. The healing of ourselves is typically our last priority. The sense that we have any ability to impact our own bodies and that we are in fact in charge of it, that we can take everything there is to take, and yet the health improves when we understand that we can improve our health, that we choose to improve our health, that we learn to see and believe and remove what's in the way of us healing ourselves. It's big, folks. The denial of who we are and our part to play in our human evolution, in our human utilization of the God-given gifts we have, the power we have to influence ourselves, is severely neglected. So we do a lot of running around in denial, looking for solutions outside ourselves, and also not really using those solutions and learning to implement those solutions that can impact us positively. So when you come to someone such as myself, many people say, I'll try it. They do, honestly. I try to screen them out so I don't get any triers and get the doers and get those that are going to stick to it and work it no matter how long it takes, because you can see that if our subconscious is piled to the hilt with unresolved issues, generational self traumas, being victimized, being shunned, being criticized, being tortured, traumatized, that can take as long as it takes to heal. And if we can accept that we're here to heal, and that's what we're here for, then we can heal. I recently had a young man I said, well, when can you come back? He said, how about tomorrow? I want to get this stuff done. I want to find me. I want to find my fulfillment. So you are my hero, young man. That you are ready and willing and able to do what it takes to be all that you are meant to be. These people are the true heroes of the world. The people who are ready to find their truth, their light, their magnificence, their perfection and their direction. I just wanted to let you know that it's possible and essential. It's a hard sell. I always tell people it would be easier for me to sell Mercedes than it would be to sell these concepts. But I'm a tough old gal. After 50 years in this business, I can vouch for it solidly. I'm Dr. Coker.